Survivor 50 is right around the corner. It is going to be the first season of 2026, which really is not that long off here. I want to talk. I want to talk about everything that we know about Survivor 50 so far, because there's a lot of information out there, and there is an active fan vote going on right this very second that I think we should all participate in. And it is a fan vote, I think, that is being heavily manipulated by Jeff. So I want to provide some unbiased information and maybe even make some endorsements here for the vote.
Doesn't sound very unbiased to me
for Survivor 50. But let's talk about what we know so far. Okay, so Survivor 50, we know, is going to be a returning contestant season. Jeff,
we know it's in Fiji.
Yes, and we also know that unlike what you may want, it is going to be a 26-day season. That is not something that Jeff is willing to compromise on.
We know Jeff Probst is the host.
Yes, and we do know that, again, it's going to be a returning contestant season. It is going to be people representing all eras of Survivor. So, thinking like early days, they're going to pick someone from the first couple seasons. They're going to pick someone from like the sad days where it was just like Coach and Ozzy coming back, and there's every era of Survivor is gonna be represented here. But it is not the fans the fans are not gonna choose who comes back for this particular season. That is all Jeff. However, the fans will be able to choose and decide a lot of aspects of the game, which I think is fun. And we do have our first 4 votes live right now, Lance. And I am actually on the website right now. It is survivor50cbs.votenow.tv, which is the best. That is just the best URL to get.
Good vanity URL.
I'm sure they had to pay a lot of money for that very complicated and impossible to remember URL. Just search on Google for Survivor 50 vote. You'll find it.
They got to pinch pennies after getting sued by Trump.
Yeah. But we have 4 votes that are happening right now. And I want to run through all 4. And I want to hear your thoughts, how you're going to vote, Lance, on these. So the first one.
I've already voted.
Oh, great. So we're going to get some information right now. So the first vote, I think, is probably the least interesting of them all. But we're going to be able to choose the tribe colors.
I went B.
And there are 3 options here. And again, I think we're getting a little bit of information about what Survivor 50 is going to be, because we already know they're going to be 3 tribes because they're looking for 3 colors.
I really wanted 2 tribes. It would have been, we've gotten 3 tribes, so I get why they do it, so they can spread it out and kind of get to know everyone a little better. But give us 2 tribes, man. At least let us vote on that too.
Yeah, I think the problem with 2 tribes, and probably the reason why they didn't do it, is because the last time they did it with a returning season, I want to say Survivor Cambodia maybe started with 2, but the last time we had 2 tribes, it was almost like the lines were set in stone from the beginning. It's like, all right, well, we're going to stick with the people we started with. And with 3 tribes, there's at least a little bit of you got to cross over, you got to work with other people. It feels maybe a little bit more interesting, but don't get worked up. That's not a choice you get to make. It's 3 tribes, like it or not. So the options here for your tribe colors, we've got blue, orange, green, or orange, teal, purple, or green, red, yellow. And my recommendation is, doesn't matter at all. Who cares?
I went B.
I did too, actually. That is, if I had to choose between them, and I did because I had to vote. I do love a classic orange and purple. That's I just like those colors. And throw in teal. Why not? Teal. That's fun.
Teal really pops. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah.
Pop. Yeah. All right. So that one, you can tell Jeff has absolutely no horse in the game. Jeff is willing to let you do whatever you want when it comes to tribe colors, because it doesn't matter. And Jeff doesn't care. But what Jeff does care about is this next vote. The next vote is rice or no rice, Lance. So this one, Jeff is definitely putting his finger on the scale on this one. Let me read you the question. So, do you want to make it a bit easier on the tribes and let them start with a supply of rice? Or do you want them to earn their rice through effort or sacrifice?
I wonder what they want us to pick.
Yeah. I don't care. Like, I really don't think it's especially interesting to have people like go the extra mile to get like 100 extra calories worth of rice. Like, you're not giving them a lot of rice anyway, even when you do give them rice, like it's going to make, if they're well fed, I think it's going to make for a little bit better game decisions. Like, they're going to think a little bit better. And I really don't think you can go wrong with having people put a little bit more mental effort into the game. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
mistakes are entertaining, but like, give them rice.
yeah, I don't think, to me, it really doesn't matter because with the abbreviation of 26 days,
Mhm.
it's not as hard. And they have so many reward challenges that a lot of people end up eating, and they obviously go days between that, but you can survive off of that. So to me, and this isn't old school Survivor where, they spent 30 minutes really focusing on how hard it was and no food.
Exactly.
And this is more about gameplay now. So yeah, I'm with you. If it keeps their brains steady a little bit more and we get better gameplay, give them the rice. I don't care.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail right on the head there when you're talking about like this. It's like such a Survivor 1, Survivor 2 question.
Right.
Like so much of the early seasons of Survivor were about surviving. Like, not necessarily the game, but like, oh man, like it's so hard to like not have food here, and like, are we going to eat a termite? And like, oh no, it's raining and we're cold. And like, there's like just so many like moments in the early era of Survivor, which is just like people being miserable. And like, I really feel like we've gone through that story so many times now that like, it's just not super interesting to me. Like, just give them rice, give them food, let them play the game. I don't care. Like, just have fun, play the game.
Yeah, I want there to be some level of survival where they are hungry and everything. But yeah, I think giving them bare minimum is fine with me. Give them something. Why not?
Final four fire making, and that is another vote that Jeff clearly cares about. So here's how the question is presented to the voters. The Final Four fire making showdown has delivered some of the most dramatic moments in Survivor history, but not every fan is on board. Where do you stand? Keep it. It gives players control over their own destiny. Or lose it. Let them vote someone out, just like the early seasons.
I mean, it's also a paradox where you can't control your own destiny. Like, that's the whole, destiny is destiny.
Mhm.
So it's also wrong. But yeah, kill fire making. I think anybody who's a real ball knower knows that fire making stinks, and I don't think no matter how much they put their thumb on the scale on these, I don't think they're going to win this vote. They could manipulate it, like maybe our most recent election, but I hope they don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I am personally not a huge fan of the Final Four fire making challenge. I think it's given us some people that like have won that I don't necessarily think are great winners. Like, I think like Gabler won it, right? And like a whole bunch of like people who would have been voted out otherwise like won it, and it's like, oh great, like someone won the fire making challenge. But like,
Chris Underwood famously came back,
that was a good one. That was a good one.
But like, depends how you feel about the game. Like, is that a thing that should happen and stuff? And I do think people take it a little too seriously in their final voting, which is why we've gotten some not so great winners since it's been around. From that.
Yeah, I personally like a vote at Final Four. Like, I think it's I think it's interesting, like continuing the social dynamics. Like, there's so few people there that like, you might wind up with a 2-2 split, and then you can do the fire making challenge. I don't mind that. But like,
it's like the whole point of the game is voting out.
Yeah.
And there is no vote out with fire making.
Yeah, Agreed. And I will say that, recently having watched some past seasons of Survivor, just not too long ago, finishing Cook Islands, that one has a very sad fire making challenge at the end where it goes to matches and then someone runs out of matches, and it is not fun to watch. And I think that's like, that should have been enough to like just kill fire making altogether, but we're still doing it. I don't think we need it in Survivor 50. I think it would be a lot of fun to not have it. I am recommending people vote against it, but like, we'll see how it turns out, because Jeff clearly is trying to push the vote in one way on this one. Yeah.
Well, democracy's stupid sometimes, and so we won't always be happy.
I've said it before, Lance. Democracy just doesn't work. Okay,
you're not the only one that said that.
So back to the fan vote. One more thing here to vote on this week is the final not final the final episode of Survivor, whether or not we are going to do the vote reveal on the island in Fiji, or whether we're going to do it months later live on a soundstage in Los Angeles. What do you think about this one, Lance?
It's a no-brainer. You have to have it in LA, even though we live in LA, so we're partial to it. It just makes more sense. One, the loser has to stick around. Like, the two losers have to stick around while everyone's drinking and eating pizza, and you have to like mentally process that. You now have months of this, and you have everyone watching previous episodes being able to react to that. And you kind of get to see them all different and things like that. So all clean shaven again. So I think there's just so many reasons. Like, the main one really being, it's got it. Like, if you are like Sam from last year and you have to sit around, you thought you won the game, and then you have to sit around and just stew in that. Like, you should get some time to process that, especially you're just so fresh off of this thing. So I think that, along with the other reasons, it has to be in LA.
Yeah, I mean, like you brought out the Sam situation. I think, like, maybe doing like a YouTube short or something, like talk with Sam after the game, like when it's still fresh. Like, I think there's something, like some content there to be had. But like, if we're talking about the reunion show, like, I really do think it's best if like there's a breather there. Like, they've had time to really digest the season and even watch the season as it's happening, like, and like have some feedback on that, because like, you're on the island and you think the way the story is going to go, and it doesn't go anything like the way you think it does in your head, because like, they're going to edit it one way or another.
People are mad about their edits. The way social media is now, like, people are going to be annoyed by somebody's tweet and things like that. So you're just going to get a little bit more interesting drama, and just people, like you mentioned, digesting the season and being able to react. It's going to make it a lot better.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's fun when Jeff brings out like the pizza for everybody at the final tribal council, but like, you can do that without reading the votes. You can just bring pizza.
Do it. And the reason they did it was because of COVID. And
yeah, exactly.
So, some people think we're beyond COVID now. Some others don't, but I think they don't care now. So, I mean, you never know. By the time, like, the next one, by Survivor 50, we might have some other outbreak, maybe like measles or bird flu or something, where we're stuck inside anyways, and it might be a moot vote.
Something to look forward to, Lance, for sure.
Well,
yeah. Well, it does not seem like Jeff has a very strong opinion about this last one, which is kind of surprising to me. Like, I thought he would probably want to go one way or the other, but like, I really think you want to see this.
I think he gets,
Los Angeles.
He gets another day of pay and some adulation from adoring fans. You don't get that, so maybe he is pro LA on that one.
Yeah. So some more, we don't know all the votes that are coming. Like we said, we know we're not going to be voting on who's going to be cast on the season, so don't look for that. Looks like we're going to have the opportunity to vote on advantages, such like idols and stuff like that, or vote steals and like what kind of things we want to see in the game. And I think that's interesting, just in the sense that, like, maybe not like super, like, would people really vote against having idols in the game? Like, I think it's really boring if they're not in the game. I think like some of Survivor's best moments have happened because of
You have
idols.
to have idols in it.
It adds a very important element of uncertainty into the game that players have to like maneuver around. But like, I do like the idea that Jeff's putting forward, and that like the people who are playing on Survivor 50 will not know how these votes turned out, so they won't know for sure whether there are idols, and they won't know for sure, you know, if they're doing a fire making challenge at the end. And I think that part is fun. It's a little less fun if Jeff's trying to really you know, push voters one way or the other. But
Yeah.
I think it's
I don't
fun to
think
have those
anybody's.
people not know what's going on at the beginning.
I know there are some purists out there that would like there to be no advantages and stuff, but that's people aren't. The majority of people aren't voting for that. So
Yeah,
there will
yeah.
be idols, and I think there should be. Honestly, I think there should be more idols. I think there should be less of the steal of votes and like little smaller things like that. But I wouldn't mind a little bit more, because we're not getting a lot of like idol plays. So many people are just going home with them. So maybe they have to make them more of them, but more short term and
Oh, I
stuff like
like.
that.
I
But
really like that idea. No, I think that's a really good idea, because like I don't want to wind up in like another Cerise situation where we have like a final six and like everyone's immune but one person because everyone's got a damn idol. Like, that's not fun. That's stupid. But I really like the idea of like, you know, idols like like an idol that has like an expiration date that's a lot sooner than final five. It's like, this idol needs to be used before the merge, or the last time this idol can be used is at the merge, or like this idol can only be used in the first 3 times you're at tribal council, or something like that. You know, something that like really, it's something that's not going to like wind up being like a huge game changer at the end of the game, but like just like having that, like having a shot clock on the idol is going to lead people like, all right, well, we're at episode 3 and this is the last time I can use it and I'm not in trouble. So maybe I do something dynamic with it. Like maybe I do something wild. And, you know, I think that makes it interesting. Like, I think there's a lot more you can do with that than just like having 15 idols in the game to the end.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. And, you know, what they really want is someone to pull off like a Wentworth against Savage kind of thing. And that's how you do it. So, especially on a returning player season. So, yeah, make it happen. But I'm for having fewer advantages that way. But like I mentioned, more of the idols.
Yeah, everyone does love a Wentworth. Does not count. As he said it a lot. There were a lot of votes.
He sure did. Yeah. It's an iconic moment.
It is. So, you know, talking about her, like, I think she is very much, you know, the type of person that I think we could see coming back. You know, someone who's very. I think she is a big part of that Survivor, you know, 30 to 40 spread. You know, talking about seasons. You know, someone who hasn't won before. Like we talked about, not wanting to see a lot of people who have won before. But here's the question for you, Lance. Who else do you think would be a really great get for Survivor 50 as far as casting goes?
I'm going to go with what I went last week. I'm going to say Penner. I think getting
Penner would be great.
Someone like Penner, you get the old school, you get a good narrator, you get someone
who's a storyteller.
Won. Yeah. So I think he would be good. I'm interested to see if they go with only people who haven't returned. Like, definitely don't want winners. But I'm interested to see who they pick from other ones and stuff. But I think we're a strong choice there. So there's so many good people to pick again. But yeah, no, try to stay away from winners. And then do want some surprising picks and stuff. So I don't know if you have to go back to like the first season or something, but would be interesting. But I'm just really interested to see who is on 50. And I'm hoping that it does so well, we get more returning player seasons. I think that's something that we're missing right now.
Yeah,
there should be. I don't know if it should be where they alternate or it's like once every 2 years or something. But I do think they need to up the rate of it.
It is okay. So like, I get where Jeff is coming from when he made the decision that like, all right, we've been doing the returning thing for a while. Let's get some new blood in here. Let's get some fresh faces. Let's, no one having an advantage at the start, just like play a Survivor game where nobody knows each other. And I think that was, it definitely has its merits. Like, we had some really good seasons because there weren't returning players on it. But at the same time, like, you love seeing people that you really want to root for come back and get like a second shot at it, right?
And those
And
seasons are such high level, and you want to see if these people were they one hit wonders or can they evolve their game? And then I think with the proliferation of the traders and the challenge and House of Villains and like all these things where people are coming back, you're not creating that. It's with these one offers now. Like even Winners at War was a bunch of people that worked because so many people came back and everything. So I think you kind of have to go to what, play the hits a little bit and really turn these people into stars.
Yeah, I think I think we talked about this a little bit last week on our the Traders podcast, and please be sure to follow that and subscribe to that. Like, just you're gonna love hearing us talk about the Traders if you like hearing us talk about Survivor. But a big question, there was a lot of talk about Jeff not liking that his contestants do other shows. And I was watching an interview with Jeff just this past week where he's like talking about that. And he's talking about how he had to get over that, like, feeling like very, defensive of his people and like not wanting to see, a Parvati do Deal or No Deal Island or Carolyn do the Traders, right? But at the same time, like, screw you, guy. You're the guy who's like decided that we're not having any more returning contestant seasons. So like, what do you want him to do? Like,
exactly. And they do sign an exclusivity to a certain extent. So they do, they can't directly go on these other shows unless they get permission. So they should be using them while they have this exclusivity.
Yeah.
And they're not. And like you mentioned, like to get that possessive about something and not give them an avenue to come back is crazy. They tried it with Challenge USA. They really tried to like extend the lives of these CBS shows and stuff. And so one way to do that is you either have to create a challenge like thing or bring back challenge or let them do more returning seasons of Survivor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's like I think there's like a difference, probably in Jeff's mind, and like a difference between the people in Paramount's mind between like doing the challenge, right, or doing the Traders, which is like a completely different streaming service. And like I think at that point, like you're just getting into so much like corporate BS and like like things that fans don't care about and things that like actively work against the interests of fans. And like just let them play and like don't hold it against Parvati that she was on Deal or No Deal Island. Not saying we need to see her back on 50, but like don't hold it against Carolyn that she was fantastic on the Traders. It's like she was really entertaining on that show and would love to see her back. Like she's someone I would love to see back on 50. So
and it's just good. It's good for business because people that weren't familiar with Carolyn now are going to go back and like look at Boston Rob. There are so many young people who didn't even know Boston Rob was hot and existed and everything. And now they're going back and watching his seasons and stuff. So it's just good for business to do that, create stars, have them come back. Like this is why Parvati is still doing stuff. This is why Dr. Will's still doing stuff. Like this is why a lot of people, it's now you're able to make this a career. So they should really lean into that. And they really do need to create new stars because they did such a good job of that because of how many returning. Like you had Tyson play 4 times and stuff. So I think having that, like, I do think you need to dip more back into that.
Yeah, I just all that corporate BS aside, let's just have people who are fun, like people that we want to see. And like, there's room for both. There's room for Survivor and there's room for the Traders. It's not like they're on at the same time and you can only watch one. Like I don't even watch, like I just stream it on the internet later, like it's like the fans of one show are fans of the other show, and like cross-pollination, I think is a great thing. Like just,
especially with how
you want to see good people play.
Especially how much content there is out there and how segmented everything is, like anything to get more eyeballs on your stuff. And I'm wondering if new ownership under Paramount might push that more in everything.
Well, we'll see if that ever happens. A lot of questions there, and best of luck to our former employer, Paramount. aren't. So,
No.
Anyway, anything else here? Anything else here you're really excited about on Survivor 50, Lance?
I just really want to see the cast. That's really the main thing that I want to see. And I'm excited. Like this is more exciting, the most exciting thing since probably Winners at War for Survivor. And that's the kind of excitement you can drum up when you have these returning seasons. So I'm really looking forward to who they pick, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's for sure going to be plenty more to talk about Survivor 50, more votes to come, more discussions. And I'm sure because it is being, Survivor 50 is going to be taped this year in the summer, we're going to know who the cast is probably in short order. That is going to be really hard for everybody to keep secret. So
there'll be some Twitter accounts that will leak that for sure. Just stay away from spoilers.
Yeah. Or stay tuned for us, and we'll give you all the spoilers we can find on the internet. So
I'm staying away from spoilers.
All right. Well, I'll have you put your fingers in your ears when the spoilers come up. So, but yeah, there's. I mean, this is just the beginning of a Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans avalanche of information that's coming, and we're going to be bringing you every new development we hear about. We're going to bring to you, and we're going to talk about it. So be sure to subscribe to the Reality Show Bros to get all that good discussion. And if you want to participate in the discussion, there's like comments and stuff where you can leave your thoughts below. So you should do that too. Anyway,
I won't read them, but yeah, you should leave them.
Someone will read them. It's just shouting to the void of the internet, and someone will read it.
Fox is vain enough to read them. So
I do love reading all the because like David, I am a narcissist, and I do like content about myself. So good or bad, it's the attention I crave. So please comment. All right. Anyway, I think that about wraps us up for Survivor this week, Lance. It's been fantastic talking with you about a mid episode of Survivor premiere. I don't know. But there's a lot of promise, I think, for the season. I think there's some interesting characters in the mix and some hopefully good gameplay to come as compared to the not so good gameplay in the first episode. But, we'll see how it turns out, and we'll cover every in and out of the Survivor 50 season here on the Reality Show Bros, on the Survivor Bros. So stay with us. But for now, Lance, I'm going to go watch some TV. So
enjoy. I'm going to New Orleans. I'm going to Mardi Gras.
Oh, party time. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you enjoy that. Don't get into too much trouble. Please stay out of jail, because I'm going to need you back here next week to talk about Survivor and the Traitors. All right, man?
I think they'll let me podcast. You'll be my one phone call.
That would be fantastic, actually, if we podcast live from jail. That'd be good. So maybe you should get in trouble. I don't know. Do what feels right, Lance. Just do what feels right.
I sure will. I always do.
All right. So good luck to you on your New Orleans adventure. I'll be stuck here in Los Angeles with the rest of the California girls. And we'll see you back here next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.